Good evening and welcome to this Wednesday, June 9th edition of the Island Stat Sports Show. I'm your host, Earl Basin, and joining me as co-host, Jason Juglin J. Ford. And this evening we have special guests in Robin Stemple and Angela Holleran Smith from the sport of equestrian. And then to be more specific, dressage.
My favorite.
It will be.
By the time they're finished with you, Jay, it'll be the one that you understand. The horse is not going to jump over anything. That's great.
That's what I say, yeah.
Well, first of all, ladies, good evening and welcome. Welcome home, Robin. You've had a time at school where you've had the opportunity to compete, not just at school, but other places, other events. Tell us a little bit about your year and kind of, did it go as planned? Did everything that you thought it would be end up being?
Yeah, so, if you asked me that question like in the fall time, I would have definitely said no, because I have to say that was probably the hardest semester for like a lot of us as freshmen going in. But, I wasn't riding at that time. We were still trying to find ways to get my Ross, my horse, off island. And so I couldn't ride during that time. And it was really hard for me, training back in Bermuda, back home for so long, and then going away and basically like not doing it for months on end. And then November, thankfully, we were able to get him up there and started to get back to normal a bit. But I have to say, like this semester, like January onwards to spring, it all feels like it's been clicking recently. And, I've been able to balance academics and my sports really well. And, just being able to get back into it, I've just been so thankful to do that.
Mm. And Angela, you were very instrumental in helping Robin in helping to develop of sorts. You've been working with her as well. Looking at it before she left, looking at the year, what were some of the things that you would have been in the back of your mind just a little bit concerned about whether or not she was going to be able to handle both the academic and the sports side?
I have to say, knowing Robin for as long as I have known her, I knew that she could definitely handle that. That was not going to be a problem for her. My biggest concern, to be honest with you, was just the worldwide pandemic and just what was going on all in the world and everything. And I know you're aware, she actually qualified for the junior championships here in Bermuda. And so we were so excited about that. And that got canceled a couple of months before the actual championships. And my heart just broke for that because she had worked so hard and we had been working so hard for that accomplishment, and she did it. And the fact that she did it here in Bermuda was just, fabulous. And so I was so proud of her for that. And so then as time marched on and everything, we sort of went ahead and changed our goals and decided that she should go ahead and be trying for the young riders, which is a level above the juniors that she did here in Bermuda. And Robin already had a place with one of the top trainers on the East Coast, and she specializes in junior young riders. And I knew if anybody could help get her there, it was going to be her trainer now, Tammy Batts, in Greensboro, North Carolina. So as much as possible from my end, I tried to help set her up for success and get her in the right place. And so that all the correct steps could be taken in order for her to try and achieve this goal. And here we are, which is fabulous. And we couldn't be prouder of her to be accomplishing the qualifying once again at an even higher level. And it's amazing because this has been a big learning curve for her. And a lot of riders take over a year just to get seasoned to this new level. And Robin, she went out and got the scores that she needed to get in her first two qualifiers in the States. And they have done nothing but gotten better and better. as they've gone to more shows and have gotten more experience up underneath them. And I've been very grateful to be watching all the videos from the competitions and everything. And it was just amazing to see the progress. And each time I looked at them, I was like, they've got it. It's going to come together. And like she said, in the past month or two, all of it started to come together and the scores started reflecting it. And we just couldn't be prouder of her.
Jay, I'm going to have a task for you because one of the things in dressage, you have to study and memorize the course, which is not always easy because when you're jumping, the jumps are numbered. The dressage is laddered. So I'm going to ask Robin a question, and then I'll come back and let you ask a question too. So Robin, when you do these shows, because each show is different, they have a different layout. So although you do similar disciplines within the sport, they're done in different ways. So how do you memorize a course that you're doing this week, and then obviously you have a course to do next week that is completely different?
Yeah, so my qualifying procedures, I have 3 tests in total that I have to do. I have a team test, an individual test, and then my freestyle. So, I'm going to a show and, the first day I'm doing one test, the next day is the next test, and then that generally like the last day will be my freestyle. So, I mean, like how I do it is I just take it a step at a time. I think everyone does it that way. I just don't want to overthink it. But I mean, for me, like I've been like when you train these tests and are just like getting into such like deep work in them back home, by the time you get to the show, it's just second nature to do it. Because, you're looking out for, oh, I know in this corner with this movement, this is going to come up and we've maybe been, having some issues with this, or I need to be thinking ahead for this movement. So, it's just in the moment, there's so much going on that it kind of just becomes second nature.
Jay?
All right, so obviously I'm new to this. So let's talk about the other partner in crime here, your partner, the horse. Obviously, you've got to have a great relationship with the horses. And through the pandemic, you made a statement about trying to get back to normal as far as being away from the horse for a long period of time. But what was it like getting back with the horse and the horse getting to, some type of normalcy of routine? Because there's normally a routine around stables of what time they get fed, what time to go out, and all these different things. So we're basically creatures of habit. But the pandemic is, humans were had to adjust. How has it been the horse adjusting during all of this?
So last year when the pandemic started, I was in my senior year back home here. And I was very thankful to be at in a barn situation where there were 3 horses in total, one of them being mine, and I was able to do the feeding with my mom and basically take care of him one-on-one. So because we were in that situation during the pandemic, we were still able to kind of get to him and give him that care. So hopefully for him, it didn't feel any different because, during that time, it was just trying to keep our schedule, our training schedule, my rides with Angela. I think the biggest thing that came out again was travels, getting off island for him. But, even in the States up here, like the barn I'm at, they have a great protocol and it just feels very, for them, like normal. They're still getting turned out in their grass paddocks and, getting fed and everything. So they're enjoying life.
It's heaven.
Yes.
And Angela, for you, did you notice any difference during that time that Robin was just talking about, with being that we were in a lockdown, but she was still able to be around the horse and stuff? But did you see any difference in the horse's performance during that period?
Well, I have to say during those times, everybody had to sort of do what they had to do and think outside of the box. And so we actually continued our training sessions via Skype. And her mother was fabulous. and stood in the middle of the ring with her iPhone and was videoing Robin while I was on my computer through Skype, and I was giving her a lesson, and she was wearing earphones, and I was in her ear as she was riding, and we were still having our training sessions. And so, I felt like we just marched on, and we just, did what we had to do. And then when we were able to come back together and everything, we just picked up and we just kept going. And, that is what is extremely important, is the consistency. And the great thing is that Robin knew that, and she knew that even though I couldn't be there as much, that she had to take on a little bit more responsibility, which she did. And then when we could be together, our time together, whether it was, through Skype or whatever, that we had to make the most of it. And so we were very grateful that we were able to make it to the other side.
Robin, competing in your first overseas show whilst you were in school, how did you keep those nerves down? Because obviously when you're here, you're with friends and so forth, but when you get in the ring, you kind of switch on. But you're with a group of unknown, or you just met people kind of thing. So what was that experience like?
Well, I was still getting used to a different trainer at that time. It was nice that I, with Tammy, have been training in the past with her over summers. So, her and Angela, Angela went to that barn when she was younger. And so their training styles are very similar. Oh. And so that definitely helped. So that helped with me learning to get more into, I guess, deeper work with her, and, not just kind of stay at working on communication. However, my first show, I clearly needed more show experience with it. So, and that took some shows to, get used to. I think that was my biggest struggle, was getting out in the ring enough to then be comfortable. Because I'm not gonna lie, the first time I did one of my tests, I had the bell ring and the judge was like, you've basically gone off course. And I was right. Man. So, getting over those show nerves, finding with my trainer in the States now, good communication with her, just, those were kind of my obstacles I had to get over. And now that I have, it's just, smooth sailing ahead from here.
Okay, just to let you know, when you're riding, if the bell rings, it means you're going off course. It means you haven't hit the mark in which you're supposed to hit. And trust me, I've seen some breakdowns when you hear that bell, because you're so focused in what you're doing, you probably don't even realize you've gone off course yet until that bell goes, and then it's like total disappointment. Or if they know they're off course, you could see it in the body language and the body, the head and all that. Angela, how do you get someone back on track after, making a mistake?
Well, I try in my everyday training is to make sure that all of my students know that it's okay to make a mistake and not to be afraid of the mistake. And what you do after the mistake is what's important. And, Robin's been working towards this for over 10 years. This doesn't happen overnight. All of this is a very long process, not only physically, but mentally as well. And I knew she could handle it. I knew she could handle the changes. I knew she could handle the pressure. But at the same note, too, her family's been extremely supportive. And I've had a couple of meetings with her family and stuff. And I very much told them, the first time out and stuff, she needs to be allowed to have a bad day. Just let her have it. It's okay. It's normal. She's going to be just fine, but don't put too much pressure on her and just let her do her thing. And, it's just all part of the process. But one of my favorite sayings is, that's the right, wrong answer. And sometimes that's just what's important. And I knew even with mistakes and everything, she was going to be just fine.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have more with Robin Stemple and Angela Holleran-Smith. We'll be right back.
We're welcoming back the often featured Whole Food veterans Bragg Live Food Products, renowned for their live probiotic organic raw cider vinegar and savory seasonings. Paul Bragg is the man behind the products that has originated health food stores, restaurants, and spas, and promoted nutrition education through the media, helping lay the foundation for the enlightened way we make healthful choices when we shop for and prepare food. This month we're featuring Bragg Organic Raw and Unfiltered Apple Cider Vinegar and Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Jay?
All right, Robin. So let's get to know a little bit about Robin. Who was a local inspiration and also an international inspiration for Robin? What got you interested in dressage?
Well, this is a funny story of how I got into dressage, and Angela knows this one really well. I started off on a pony who, was a bit of an interesting ride for me, and I was definitely having.
Stop! Explain that, because interesting is bucking me off the horse.
I will. So basically, this is probably around when I was like 7. He just kept stopping, and I just kept falling off. That was just
I can relate to
that. Yeah. And so my mom had gone to Angela, who was known as, doing dressage and coaching, and, basically said to her, can you help my kid stay on? And that kind of, got me into training with Angela. And then Angela was the one that got me into dressage. So I would say that Angela has been a great inspiration for me and my pony and I starting off. And then internationally, to be able to see Annabelle Collins from Bermuda be able to do it on such a huge international scale for the sport has been greatly inspiring to me, to show that, us on this tiny island can get that far. So yeah, I would just say those are my 2 greatest inspirations. And I have to also say my mom, because she got me into the sport of horse riding in the first place. So yeah.
Quick question, Angela, because we know how to look at a human and say, okay, you're feeling it today. But can you look at a horse and say they're feeling it today or they're not feeling it before they actually compete?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes, horses speak too. They have their own language, and you certainly can tell that. And, sometimes you have to adjust your warm up as to how the horse comes out each day. And you may have to go about things a little bit differently to help them to get, more at their level to show and everything like that. And that's a little bit part of the education and the learning process, that you have plenty of tools in your toolbox so that, at each different competition, you've got some options if you need them, and to also to know your horse and to know what he's going to need for each warm up and each ride in order for him to, be at his peak.
And Angela and Robin, as the rider, what are some of the things you make sure you do before you even get on the horse to kind of make sure that relationship for the day is going to be the best it could be for the day?
Something important about this sport is that, you're not, it's the relationship you build with them. So when I'm, going to him and doing training, I don't want him to keep thinking of me as, oh man, she's just gonna work me hard and do we're just straight to business. So, it's really about for them mental health and making sure that, we can go on fun trail rides with them and go grazing, and they can, get that bond with you. For me personally, I always see, the small things like horse care, which, really, come a long way with keeping them healthy and happy. For me, that's just how I make sure to have that relationship with him that is so strong.
Jay?
Question for both of you. Normally when you hear the word pandemic, a lot of people think of negative situations that's happened in the last couple of years. But tell us something positive, each one of you. We have heard about some coaches talking about the Skype and all the streaming stuff to communicate, but also we heard athletes talking about they can focus more on the health or the fitness during these times. From each one of you guys, what's been the positive out of this pandemic that you wasn't doing prior, or you've increased or more enhanced during this time period?
I'll have to say, from the dressage group perspective, during this pandemic, we've accomplished several things that we never ever thought we could. It's been extremely positive for us. I mean, first of all, we have a rider that has a place in the Tokyo Olympics. That's just amazing. That's incredible. And then to have Robin right behind it, to be not only qualifying, the year before for the junior championships, but then the following next year during the whole pandemic to qualify for the young rider championships. I mean, it's just incredible. So there's a lot of positive from our end.
And Robin?
Yeah, I would just say for me, it would have to be like just really valuing my time because, I mean, we've talked about it a bit before, like falling into that routine. And sometimes, you do fall into it and you kind of just stick with it, but don't actually learn, or you kind of forget to just appreciate, what you're doing in the first place. So for me, when we had those moments where we are stuck inside, it just made me realize like how grateful I am when I am riding and to be training with him and like just to have the opportunities that I have. So it's definitely, reopened my eyes to all of that.
Competing overseas is nothing new to you. You've done that before, but to compete and having to stay overseas, what was that experience like for you? Because you said it's the first time you've been home in what, 5 or 6 months?
Yes, since January.
Right. So having to remain abroad is a little different instead of just going competing and then coming home, because when you know you're going to compete and you're coming back, it's a little more exciting than, oh man, I've got to do this math test, I got to do this English test, I got to do all these other things in between. So how did you yourself cope with that new way of having to do things and pretty much get yourself on a schedule to do so?
Yeah, I'm just thankful that I had my horse with me because that was basically like the stability for me. Back home, I'm going to horse shows with him and then we're coming back to the barn and yeah, I'm able to go home. But, for me, up in the States, like he is kind of my sense of home where, when I am going to shows, I know, okay, I'm more looking forward, like, after a hard, like, weekend of work to know that, the next day we both get it off. That's nice. But no, like you even just mentioning like the school part just brings back memories of like, having a test the next Monday or having homework. But I tried to stay on top of that to make sure that like I had it all done and I could focus on my riding. Because for me, like mentally, I just need to be 100% into it and not thinking about anything else. But yeah, it's been an interesting dynamic to get used to. But, as you go to every show, it gets easier and becomes more of a routine.
Yeah. Any more questions, Jay?
Pretty simple. I sort of know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What's the ultimate goal for Robin in this
Oh man, this is an interesting question because if you asked me last year, it would have been juniors, and then with that kind of getting canceled, my thought was, okay, well, clearly this means that I should do more and I should go for the young riders. So, I mean, I'm just trying to take it step by step, but I mean, I would love.
I'm not talking about short-term goals. Ultimate goals.
I know. I mean,
because we're speaking to existence, right, Coach?
You're absolutely right. Never say never.
Ultimate goal, Robin.
I guess my ultimate goal is, and you're probably not gonna like this answer, but is to just make sure like I'm still having fun in it. Like, I don't know about like, we have ideas of going to, maybe doing the Young Riders again, because I can do that up until I'm 21. There are other international scale shows out there like the Junior Pan Ams and regular Pan American Games. So I don't know, that's definitely something to look into in the future, but it's just like, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm focused on this competition right now. And yeah.
The coach has taught you to stay in the now. As they would say.
Yes.
Stay in the now.
But the good thing, Jay, and it's good to hear a young person say, I want to remain happy in the sport.
I mean, well, Earl, you're seeing it. You're seeing it being played out right now in the sport of tennis.
Yeah.
You see Naomi Osaka, who's the #1 seeded player, has reached heights at a young age and not happy.
Yeah.
And we've heard that with a lot of athletes, especially achieving success, what we would think would be success, but they're not happy. So you see young athletes like that actually burn out.
Sure.
And walk away from the sport because they're not happy. What they initially went into the sport for, just having that escape and being happy and being free, it got taken away from them. So I'm glad, like you said, there's no wrong answer. I was thinking you may have said Olympics somewhere down the line. Your answer was probably perfect because that's why we all want you to still be around the sport. And if you're around long enough with your talent and obviously the horses, your coaching, you will achieve anything. So I'm glad.
It's important because I had a chat with Annabelle, I think on Monday we were talking. And one of the things she was referring to is having the right partner to do things and move forward. How old is the horse you're riding now, Robin?
Ross, he's currently 13.
Okay.
And
And how many, what's that?
Sorry, I would say for like a dressage horse, like that's probably that's I would say middle of the road. Angela, you can correct me on that. But the thing is with dressage is that the work you do, like I know, there's a horse at the barn I'm riding now that was also originally in Bermuda, and she's 23 years old and still like doing her job. So what's nice with dressage is that they can keep, doing that work. And so, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people would say, oh, that's just a horse. We could do it. But it has to be, when you're looking at, Angela, when you're looking at a, what would they call them? Quality horse or an Olympic or world champion horse. What are some of the things that stand out for you just looking at a horse to say that one could be one that we can actually make into a world beater?
I'll have to say one of the first things that I would definitely look at is their character, because no matter how talented they are, if they don't have a sane mind and a really good heart, it doesn't matter how talented they are. You're going to have a lot of difficulties. First of all, you're going to have a difficulty staying on, which that doesn't do anybody any good. So the character is extremely important in my eyes. And I will have to say Robin's horse has impeccable character. He definitely does. He has a heart of gold, and that's very important. And then, of course, one of the second things is just sort of their, quality of movement and their talent, that they have. And sometimes too, the most talented can be the most difficult, and the ones where things come easy, they can be the most challenging. So you never also too want to sort of write off the average, potential partner, as long as they have a good heart and literally put their best foot forward each time that you get on them and everything. That also too speaks volumes.
I know most athletes have a ritual, something they do before they go to the ring. Robin, do you have one?
Well, I have to say I've gotten a bit superstitious. So like from the jewelry I wear to like what show shirt and socks I'm wearing, I would say that's probably my ritual. It's just making sure like everything's in place, and then I'm like really in the right headspace for it.
Right. Now, in watching the video, I see a lot of body movement. When I say body movement, you're moving to make sure that the horse understands what you want him to do next, kind of thing. You're arching your back, or you're sitting straight, or you're moving forward and stuff. How do you train that? Do you train that without being on the horse at times?
Well, he is, he's a big horse. He's 17, 3 hands. And, every time we go to the show, someone's always commenting like, "Oh wow, like he's big," and just making a comment on it. And something like that we find really helps, when you are doing training work is like maybe sometimes getting, like us as athletes, we get kind of like either dry needling or acupressure. We find that work can really help with him and really help him stay, and his muscles, stay basically fit for competitions. He is an athlete, just as I am. We are a partnership, so making sure that he is getting the proper care as an athlete, that definitely helps them with their training and making sure it's all good.
Okay, all right. Any other questions, Jay?
Yeah, I mean, hey, Ross. Ross's name, right? Ross.
Ross, yes.
Okay, so tell me, what's Ross's favorite food?
Ooh,
If you would have treat Ross, give him a treat, what would you give him?
I would give him sugar cubes, which aren't the best for them, but yeah, if he's been a really good boy and it's just been perfect, then yeah, we'll give him sugar cubes.
Angela, looking at the development of what Robin's been able to accomplish over the last 5 or 6 months, what are some of the things you want to be able to concentrate on over the summer period before she heads back to ensure when they both hit the ground, they hit the ground running and pick up where they left off, kind of thing?
I think the biggest thing is for her and I just to communicate with each other, and for me to know if she has any concerns about anything between the time now and before the competition. If she has any major concerns that need to be taken care of, because her mentality is extremely important as well. And also to make sure that she knows that everything's set in place for her, and for things to just, move right along. Now, of course, we'd love for things to move smoothly. Sometimes that doesn't work. But for her to at least know from the Bermuda Dressage perspective and everything that we're here to support her and help her in any way possible that we need to, and to just make sure that she knows from our end that things are taken care of. And also, to make sure that she knows that she needs to take care of herself as well as her horse, because she's no good to him if she's not taking care of herself. And, Robin and I have already at certain times in our relationship, I've had some nice quiet little talks to her, and to make sure that she knows that I'm very much aware that she's a teenager, but at the same note too, she has big goals in her life, and with that requires big responsibility, and to certainly enjoy herself and to be normal, but at the same note too, to not get too out of hand in social situations and that kind of thing. And, she's a very mature, lovely young woman. And I know she'll always make the right decisions and everything like that. But I feel like that's my, biggest part between here and the championships and everything, is to just take care of her well-being and to just make sure that she knows that we're here for her.
Well, I look forward to the training that you guys will have on island prior to Robin departing again. And Robin, we want to wish you all the best. Keep that smile, get those earrings out, those socks, and the next time I see you in a show, I'm going to actually take your boot off because I want to see these socks.
Okay.
Well, ladies, thank you very, very much. And we look forward to more things coming out of the dressage, where I know you guys are excited and can't wait to see Annabelle compete in Tokyo. I know the excitement is growing as we had a chat last night with the Olympic group. So I know everybody's just chomping at the bit to get to Tokyo and represent this country as best as they can. So again, ladies, thank you very, very much. Enjoy your night. Folks, we'll be right back after this commercial break, and we'll be joined by former Bermuda captain, Dante Levrock. We'll be right back.
Thanks,
We're
guys.
spotlighting our old friends Woodstock Farms, who started up 50 years ago in the belief that we need more trustworthy natural food sources. Starting with one product, their line, mostly certified organic, is now more than 250 strong in 10 categories. This month we're featuring accoutrements of the barbecue, for us the pinnacle of home cuisine and one of the few forms of restorative recreation now within our reach. Try Woodstock Organic Sweet Relish, Tomato Ketchup, Baby Kosher Dill Pickles, Sauerkraut, and Hickory and Original Barbecue Sauce. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Good evening, Dante. Hope all is well.
Afternoon, guys.
Hey, Cap.
How are you making out?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
One day at a time. I first have to start off by saying congratulations. I saw the what do they call it now when you find out what's that?
Gender reveal.
Yes, gender reveal. Yes. You look rather pleased.
Yeah, I'm having a little boy. I was very happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
A little Dante now.
Life's gonna change. Life's gonna change.
Oh, trust me.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Well, Dante, it was only a few weeks ago you kind of indicated that you were going to be leaving the national program, injuries and so many things going on. But since which you've been seen back at training. And I wanted to invite you on to give, I wanted people to hear it from you, that you're back at training and give, just some understanding and reasoning behind your desires of helping the national program.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I've been involved in the national program for a long time, longer than I realized. It's been a good 8 years, going on 9 years now. And, you have as you just seen, the young group that just went on tour. I feel it is my job to help. I am going through or was going through, some personal things, but I thought after self-reflection, I thought I was being a bit selfish because I feel like I have, a lot to give these guys, even if, I'm just around them, giving them information, helping them out, them asking me questions. So, I feel like I have a lot to give, and I feel like I also owe it to them. I was once in their position. And I had some people help me along the way. So, I feel like it is my duty to help, the next generation coming through, which is going to be very important.
Mm-hmm. And well, obviously you said it was self-reflection. How did you kind of come to these terms that I need to get back out here and help out in any way, shape or form?
I mean, first of all, as an athlete, you never really lose your competitive spirit. Seeing the boys, not being around them, not even having any banter with them, you do miss it. Even though, I have, I'm starting my career now, starting my life back in Bermuda. I'm no longer a professional, which that transition has been, it's harder than people think, coming back into an environment and, entering the real world, playing football was a dream, waking up, playing football every day and doing what I needed to do. But again, I miss my boys and being involved, and I still feel like I do have a lot to give after that self-reflection. It's tough, even for the local boys here. You're competing against guys who play 10 months out of a year full time, and you're training for 6 weeks, and then you had COVID as well. The league stopped, so the odds are against you. The things that we have accomplished with that base of local players that we have has been magnificent. If you really look at it logically. So to again setting that example, not only for, my young nephew, but, I'm coaching now, I'm working in schools, and the first thing they said to me was, Mr. Laverick, Coach Laverick, what happened? You retired? Like, what are you doing? So even hearing that, it made me think, well, wait a minute, I have these young children looking up to me. I can't just step away yet.
Now, you've had some trying times or played in some trying places as a professional, which kind of would have toughened you up in many ways and made you reflect on not just football but life because of the way or the places that you played in. What were those experiences like playing in those countries?
my saying now is I'm comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. Um, I was in environments of Estonia, Poland, even Ireland. These are places that Bermudian players haven't been. Um, so I got used to being in the environments and adapting and just embracing it as well. So I think I missed that a bit. Being home is very different from being abroad. So even that transition back home was tough for me. But hopefully, I opened doors. You even see guys like Willie who was in Sweden. These things wasn't happening before. So the more players you do having taken these risks and playing abroad and playing at a professional, semi-professional level, it only benefits Bermuda football. And for me, I'm pro Bermuda football. I want Bermuda football to excel. I want to be, once I do stop playing, I want to be watching these guys making the World Cup, getting through the World Cup group stage, getting into a quarterfinal, semi-final. These are the things that, I wanted to see happen. And hopefully now with me being home, I can help in that way. I want to take that responsibility and help any way I can the young groups that are coming through.
Jay?
Dante, first of all, I want to commemorate you and say thank you. Because even after you said making that reflection and thinking back that, you can still help these young guys. Many ex-players may say that, but they don't come back. And you know that. And, you see a lot of players that move away from the game since, man, if they just hung around just a little bit longer, because not realize, like you said, a lot of these young players are looking up to them, looking for that information, and they're not getting it, and then they're relying on their own atmosphere, or own surroundings to get it. So I just want to say thank you. But let's take you back. I remember interviewing you when you first, I want to say, the first week you became captain up on Vibe 103. Hey, he was shy. He wouldn't want to come to the mic. But tell me something. What has this been? Probably 3 years now, 3+ years now. Yes. What has the captaincy done for Dante, the captain of Bermuda? What has it done for Dante Leverock, the person, and also the player?
I mean, first of all, that was always a dream of mine. I can go back to the time when Connor Smith was wearing the armband. He's my first cousin, and I remember telling my mom, like, first of all, I feel like I'll be better than Connor, which you should have that mentality as a young player to aspire to be better than the ones before you. But also, I feel like that's the greatest honor ever, to represent and captain your country. It's like going to war and being the sergeant, or the captain, so but it helped me to grow up and take more responsibility and not be so, you have to be selfless in that role, because your players around you must be comfortable. They must have everything they need. So if they say, Skip, we need this, we're not happy with that, you must take responsibility and talk to whoever it may be to organize that for your players, because at the end of the day, you must make sure everyone is at the optimal level for the game. So it's helped me to grow up and be a man, and grow up in many aspects of my life, being selfless and, having to be humble as well. People hear me on the pitch, I'm very loud and active. But even then, you have, young players that are watching you. So that's how it's made me have to, watch the things that I say, watch the things I do off the field as well. You have to be a role model, or have to set the example for these young people, because you can't say to them, oh, act this way, and then you're doing something totally the opposite.
Give us an idea, because I think a lot of folks don't realize, yes, Dante is captain, Dante is playing, you only see Dante playing here and there. But give us a sense, especially at an international level, what's required of a captain off the field, as far as meetings and you seeing being a mediator between the coachings and the players, because we've talked about having a somewhat of a players union of sort that, we can help mediate between coaches and clubs and whatever. But give us the role that you have to play off the field.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be always available. I get WhatsApp from my players all the time. Like I say, Skip, we need water, or Skip, what time are we meeting? Skip, what leisure wear we were in today? Things that they aren't happy with on tour. I have to be the mediator there. And you also must get your rest. You also must do the things you have to do off the field and get your mind mentally ready. But I embraced it, because that's the role that I wanted. So I have to take that responsibility. But for the main thing, you just always have to be available, because again, you need your players to the optimum level. You need these guys to be focused and relaxed and in the best environment they can be in, even down to, how the other team is treating us on tour. Are the buses late? Why are the buses late? So I have to go to the management or whoever, say, this needs to be better. My boys are upset. This shouldn't be happening. All those little things you have to take responsibility for. And again, it does get overwhelming. I think that was maybe part of the reason as well, with me having a little one as well. That's something that maybe I didn't want to balance. But even now, I'm just back, and I'm focused on playing first. We want to get to the Gold Cup, and that's all going on. The English guys are back. The pros are back there amongst the group. We've been training, working hard. So, the other group that just was on tour, they'll be back. We'll be back training soon, and it'll be some fierce competition. I'm not here saying I'm going to be selected either. I must show that I'm ready, like everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Looking at the background that you've had, and you started out as a striker, and kind of your career went leaps and bounds when you became a defender. But reflecting on it, you still have the prowess of being a goal scorer. You've come up with some big goals for Bermuda during the last campaign and so forth. But what did, when you started out as a striker and then you became a defender, what did that teach you, especially in and around the box?
Yeah, exactly. Having those little sharp movements that, even players lack these small little details that the pros do consistently over and over and over again. When it is a set piece of the corner, I really believe every time I'm going to score. I want to have that responsibility around the box, being fearless in the box. But even defensively, playing as a striker, the movement strikers make, the fake dummy runs, the runs in behind, the near post runs, the peeling off your back shoulder, the passive offsides, all these things you're aware of. So then, you must counteract that as a player. So it's definitely helped me all around in my game. But, I'm still a striker at heart,
And you mentioned Connor because you kind of done the same thing. Just as he was actually in his senior years playing up front, and then when he became the professional, he became a fullback.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And basically done a remarkable job playing for New England, playing fullback. He would get the opportunity to shoot, but the ability that he had with dribbling, crossing, and all that, he really stood out as a player, as a defender, as an attacking, defending player.
And that's the thing, going to a professional level, you realize that you must play a role within the team. It isn't about you or being the shining light or gathering the headlines. Now you must play a role in the manager's system. People, even people watch football. So why is he doing that? Why is he doing this? That might be his role that the manager has asked him to do. See where, the football intelligence comes in. So, but I moved back earlier than him. I couldn't last that long.
We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, we'll have more with Dante Leverott. We'll be right back.
John Barrett & Son, Bermuda's favorite distributor of fine beverages, has brought us a new and refreshing thirst quencher just in time for the approaching warm weather. Hint Water in 7 luscious flavors. Hint Water is slaking the thirst of active people who need pure hydration, low on the glycemic index, and want the kind of taste experience that keeps them coming back to try the next flavor. For those who've been giving water a miss, Hint may win you over. Hint Water. No sugar, no additives, all flavor. Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Dante, if you don't mind me asking, one of your biggest supporter is your mom. Mm-hmm. Anytime Bermuda's playing anywhere, it could be in Iceland in the middle of a snowstorm, and somehow, some way, she's going to get there to support. What was the conversation like with her when you decided to say, you were going to walk away?
First of all, as you said, she's everywhere we play, and she really is the only voice I hear. I have tunnel vision when I play, but I hear her voice telling me get up or do better or stop shouting, stop pressing, all these. but she's always there, and I'm grateful for that. But being my mother, she supported me. Whatever decision, me telling her the reasons why. But then again, I felt also maybe not disappointment, but she loves to travel, and she grew up with watching these boys and the key Reggie, we played for Dennytown. She watched all, and so even this opportunity for getting to the Girl Cup, she was looking forward to that. So that is another reason why I feel like I owe it to her, all the time and money and energy she's invested in me. Again, upon self-reflection, I think I was being a bit selfish. Yes, trying to take care of myself, but it's not all about you. When you have this opportunity, representing people that you love and representing your country, I'm not going to be able to do it forever. In the next 2 years, I'll be, 31, 32. So when the body goes, then you may look back and say, oh, I should have, or I don't want to live like that. I want to put myself in a position to, and once I'm really done, I definitely want to transition into coaching. I love coaching. That's my passion now, helping the kids or seeing the smiles on their faces. When I'm coaching them, there's no better feeling. And that sort of made me fall in love with football again as well.
Jay?
Yeah, Dante, I'm just looking back over the last 4 years, the transition of the team itself. At one point in time, heavily based local setup. Then it's almost heavily based foreign playing, guys coming in. But even at this time, and even the brief time that you had stepped away, we've seen an influx of a lot of new faces, a lot of new names. It gives a lot of opportunities for guys, number one, knowing that if they can get to this team, what they need to do, or even the fact that our future is bright with young players coming through here locally and abroad. Speak to that for us.
Yeah, I mean, even if you look at it now, you like Remy, Kane, you have players at Burnley, I believe. You have a lot of these guys playing in non-league now, prep schools, all of these things, the transition of these players being exposed to a higher level early. And I feel in the next cycle, we're going to see a powerful team, and they will be majority professional, semi-professional, or college players, I feel. But also even the young local guys, you have to want it her because, let's be real, Bermuda football isn't at a standard it should be. We have to be
that age group.
Exactly. Even on the 17 league I coached this year, and you have like 5 teams. I grew up and it was like 10 teams, and that was competitive. You're playing against your friends, like, oh yeah, we're playing you this weekend. So Bermuda football it is declining. We must be honest with ourselves. So that's another reason that I want to get into coaching and try to change that. But we do have some talented local players that are working hard, that are willing to learn from the coaching side, willing to learn from the professionals that come back. But I think that in these last 2 games they learned the level that international football is. It's not running off your coach and saying I trained for 6 weeks and I played against players that play for Galatasaray and Anderlecht. And this is real man's football. So I think the future is very bright. You have all these young guys like Kane who's involved. Remy was involved. West Bahamas, very good player. A very bright future, and you have a host of players playing in England now, and also in the US in prep school and stuff. So as long as we can keep them together and interested, I feel like our goal now as the group now is to keep us at the level playing, getting to the Girl Cups, playing against the Mexico, Canadas, and these things, So, we were relegated to League B for Nations League. Our goal is now for this cycle to get back to League A. And then the older generation will filter out and the younger generation will filter in, playing at a high level, like being exposed to these top levels. We don't want to digress back to, lower level of opposition.
Yeah. And being that you're talking about that, our next big task is obviously Barbados, who just recently signed some 10 to 12 players, giving them passports who are eligible to play for Barbados against Bermuda, and most of these guys are coming from clubs in England. So just another task that we're up against. But looking at what we need to ask the players to do for the Barbados game, and then if we're successful in that, we got Haiti right behind that to try and get to the Gold Cup. You've been through this before. I mean, many people, even in this country, counted you guys out when you went to Panama, but you were able to pull it off. Getting back to that, you got to get back to that feeling. You got to get back to that relationship amongst each other. How do you think we can get there?
Yeah, it's all gonna be down to that hunger and desire, and I don't mean just raw hunger and desire. I mean in every aspect of football, on the field, off the field. Every little thing that you do is gonna be important. From 2 months ago, when they were training, when you went to Bahamas, when you went through all this whole World Cup campaign, the hunger and desire. You bring up Panama. They smacked us at home, and we were in Panama, and we had a good 3-hour meeting. Things were said, and we came out of that meeting closer as brothers, and we knew we were gonna beat them. Like we knew. So we have to find that again, because again, Barbados, you see all these countries, giving players passports. We don't do that. We grew up playing with each other. So for us, we have something a bit different. We have that brotherhood. I know his mother, I know his grandmother, I know his father. So I actually care about this person. I'm going to war with this person. These guys just, I'm playing for Barbados. I'm probably getting a bit of change, but so we have that family orientation. But it will be tough. Getting across Barbados, that's our first task. And then Haiti plays St. Vincent as well. That's a tough game for them. But most likely Haiti will go through. They just progress out of the group, I believe, for the World Cup.
Yeah.
The task is tough, but we live up to the situation. I think everyone's fired up now, especially with the pros being back, seeing the aura. After a lot of them not being involved in the World Cup, the Gold Cup has been the focus. So a lot of guys are fired up, and people want to get on that plane as well. These young guys that just play, I'm matching some of them, talk to some of them. A lot of them are hungry. They want to get on that plane, and rightfully so.
Any final questions, Jay?
Yeah, so let's go off the field there. I've been obviously following you on social media, especially with your coaching there. Let's talk to the parent who has a child that's interested. What are some of the things that you want to get through to the parent? Because we know sometimes that's one of the biggest problems we have with young athletes in all sports. But the parents, what are you looking to do? What's some good information to give to the parent when they send their child to your coach?
I mean, for me, it's about the full package. I mean, yes, you have, position-specific training, you have your gym training, you have your power lifting and, body weight exercise, but it's the full package for me. I've been a student athlete throughout my career. I'm finally finishing my master's degree. I'm 29 years old now. Even now, I'm not at a club. If I didn't have a degree, what would I actually be doing? So the full package of being a good person first, and then an athlete, being a student first, and then the athlete. Again, we have talent here. We all know that. But if you can't harness that, it's a waste, and we'll continue to go in the same cycle that we're doing now, of saying we'll get close, but we don't cross the line. But for me, I just focus on, making it also fun for them, because I'm also a player. I think some coaches get caught in just instructing players, telling them what to do. It's about decision making as well. A lot of my drills and the things that I do, we have to make decisions quickly and instantly, or I put them through mental training, playing tic-tac-toe with a ball, and these type of things get your brain ticking as well. You have to be very smart as a player. You see the top players like Kevin De Bruyne, and these guys are they're intelligent players. So, I've been through so many coaches in my career now. I picked up little bits and pieces here and there from each one. So for me, I just try to give my 100% best, and also I want to be there for the children as well. When they, whole school, if we didn't talk, we have to talk to our children, and be there for them, because they are our children.
You got to listen to our children too.
Yeah. Quick question with that. Are you one of the ones that like that one-on-one, or do you like the team bonding training session?
Yeah, for me, I like more one-on-one, so we can focus on, the strengths and weaknesses of the player, and make them feel special as well. You know, you can see things. You know, players in a team, things might go unnoticed sometimes. You're one coach or two coaches. Sometimes you can't see everything. But I'm looking right at you on one when I know that your first touch should be out of your feet or across your body, or you're not checking your shoulder, all these little things. So now players can consistently take that into their clubs and improve. You know, a lot of the players come to my program, they want to be professional. So I tell them, you know, that's a lifelong sacrifice. A lifelong.
Yeah. Well, Dante, I want to thank you very much for joining us here. And as Jay said, you know, we want to take our hat off to you. You know, you've acknowledged you made a decision. You've come back because you've had time to think about the decision that you made, and we want to welcome you back. You can be an asset to the program, and I think there's many within that program that will be smiling now that you're back in training, to know that they have a lion heart, that they have to battle to try and get out of the team. So what's that?
Captain, man, we need the captain back. Man. Come on, man.
Hey,
That was a captain back. Come on, man.
there you go. So you know,
But who had
I'm
your
pretty-
number while you were schooling?
Taziko, you know, I don't like sharing his number, but he's all right. He's
You
a
told him
good,
already, right?
I ain't seen him yet. He'll know. You know.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, Dante, again, thank you very, very much for joining us here, and we want to wish you all the best. And obviously, we'll follow what happens next. You guys will be training this coming weekend with the guys. Hopefully, they all got back and test negative, so the full squad can be out in training this weekend in the preparation for Barbados in July. So, thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys. Have a good
Thanks,
evening.
man.
Yeah, we'll have more after this message from our sponsor.
We're welcoming back the often featured Whole Food veterans Bragg Live Food Products, renowned for their live probiotic organic raw cider vinegar and savory seasonings. Paul Bragg is the man behind the products that has originated health food stores, restaurants, and spas, and promoted nutrition education through the media, helping lay the foundation for the enlightened way we make healthful choices when we shop for and prepare food. This month we're featuring Bragg Organic Raw and Unfiltered Apple Cider Vinegar and Organic Extra Virgin Olive Oil. Lindos, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. Well, Jay, we're going to start our waiting clock. I did speak to the president of St. George Cricket Club, Neil Painter, who is currently meeting with the members of the St. George's Cricket Club, reference cut match. And at the same time, Bashan Lachette is meeting with the members of Somerset to discuss what has been put on the table for the 2021 Classic to be held at the Wellington Oval. Decision time for both clubs. Not an easy task, as we know. Cup match is the biggest event in Bermuda held every year, and it's a monumental task to put it on. We're now only 6 weeks away from the match itself. If it comes off, regardless of how it comes off, it's a tall order to ask. And get this done under any circumstances.
Oh, most definitely. As you know, I've been in talks with the clubs, obviously, for the broadcasting side of it. As you know, you're commentating on that side. So I've been in the hood and patting. Everybody's been in the hood and patting other vendors. I mean, that's the thing. It's two sides. When I say two sides, it's, and I've mentioned this before. There's the actual game, and then there's the actual event.
Mm-hmm.
And both have challenges.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Have challenges. Most of them basically due to the restrictions that were being put under by the health ministry. Going forward, probably the national security as far as if we do have a game, what it's going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, if it does go on, I will say, and I think I could be privy to say that it will look different.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
You can say that. I don't think anybody could go into this with the expectations is what we saw back in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
I was down in St. George's. Basically, take that out of your mind until 2023.
Right.
At the earliest. And I say at the earliest. Realizing that, and I think some people don't realizing that This event is run by these two clubs.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a government event. It's run by these two clubs. Financially, these two clubs depend on Cup Match year about for finances to stay operating.
Mm.
Through the pandemic, they've not been able to operate as such, especially when most of these clubs, we know, we've had this talk many times, with the revenue stream being one of the main ones, is the bar.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these clubs have lost so much finances without any cricket being played, without any bar being open, the whole nine. So there's a balancing act that they have to, decision-wise, financially, because take for instance, St. George's will not see Cup Match again until 2023.
Right.
So just think, they would have had a lack of funds in 2020. If it doesn't happen this year, there'll be a lack of funds in 2021. And they would have to find some money to put on 2022. Or no, 2022 will be
2023.
promising.
Yeah.
Lack of funds there. And then they'll have to find money for 2023.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not just, like I said, challenges on the field. It's going to be challenges off the field.
Yeah.
The viability, how we make this. Now, this also creates opportunity to look at the template of how we're looking at Cup Match in that sense. So it's financially viable for all clubs to sustain, not just past that 1 year,
Mm-hmm.
but over a few years. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So it's gonna be some situations. If it, like I said, depending on what the membership, and that's one thing I will say. I applaud both clubs. They have took it to their membership.
Yeah.
The membership will make the decision.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel that the president said, or this person said, or that person said, and then it's no. They're talking it to. So I would assume, and I don't want to get too far as what's going on, but I would think. The presidents or the committees will present the pros and cons to them, and they'll come back with an answer.
Yeah, yeah. Again, the mere fact that we don't know what the restrictions that the government or the proposal that the government has put out there for them, requirements to actually host the event, let alone the game. But the members will have that, and they'll make that decision with that information.
The part that baffles me, and I won't say baffles me, because not just the sporting clubs, but the Ministry of Health and National Security. We have all been in this pandemic for the last 18 odd months. I'm pretty sure that some of these plans would have been made or put forward by each major event that we've had or didn't have in the last year, rather than the international events, golf, the rugby, the sailing. Also, I'm pretty sure that Carifta must have sent plans and the whole nine for event and venues.
Oh yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that these things. And I'm pretty sure that everybody or the stakeholders would have looked at other jurisdictions who have gone and put on events around the world. You can just go and look at their applications, look at their templates. It baffles me that it almost seems like we're trying to recreate the wheel.
Only for our sports, only for local sports.
And that's what's the frustrating part, because I've said this before, and you've seen documentation. I won't say it's documentation, but we've seen, that we know there's going to be 3 more international events in October. We locally might not be paying attention to, but if you go to their websites and then you look on the list of calendar events, it has one of those dates.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we think, golf is coming. No, golf has been on the books for a while. It's just took time.
It was on the books at the end of last year when they published the 2021 schedule.
And remember, what gets frustrating, that was confirmed based off projecting where you would be during those times. I don't see why. It doesn't feel that same process has been dealt with when it came to local events.
And that's where I continuously get frustrated because it hurts the local side. It makes it a them versus us thing where it puts a lot of people in a position of distrust when it comes to the process, because we're told no or hold on and wait, while others are being given the green light way in advance. Who said it the other day? When we had the minister on and your number 66. But it would appear that any international sporting event goes to the top of the pile and gets cleared.
Well, the unfortunate part, Earl, and I think we found out during that particular conversation, those international events, our government had a vested interest.
Well, they should have a vested interest in their people doing sports as well.
Not just a vested interest, but also a financial investment.
And they should have a financial investment in our people too.
I'm not saying they don't, but what I'm saying, for the stuff we're talking about, for the most part, it's a private entity. Listen,
this is how they sell it to you. Well, you'll be seen in 196 countries. That's been their sell. That has been their sell. Well, you'll be seen. Bermuda will be seen in 196 countries. Okay. Well, what about the 66,000 that live here?
Yeah. And unfortunately, Earl, and you could go around our community. I mean, we're passionate about it because we're close to we love sports at heart. We have some folks who just don't care about it at all, and we know that. We know that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And unfortunately, they're in a position of they can say yay and nay.
Yeah.
Okay, what the answer is going to be.
Well, one thing's for sure, Jay, they are still in the meeting in both the East End and the West End. So what we're going to do, we could end tonight's show and hopefully when Mr. Neil Painter gets in touch, we can probably do something later on, if at all possible.
I just said, and I've said this before. I said it last year, and I'll say it again. This is our oldest tradition. The significance of this game means a lot. Rather, some people think it's just a party of that sort. Not a problem for me. But take time out and research why we actually play this game. It was canceled once before this, I believe in the First World War. One of the wars, okay?
Yeah. I think in, what was it, 21? 19? Something like that.
Yeah. Between the First World War, right?
Yeah.
Over 118, well, it'll be 118, I believe. Right?
Orders and Georges. Well, the playing now, it's a little different. Yes.
Remember, it actually evens back out because remember,
it evens back out now. Yes.
First, they actually played 2 matches, so the matches and the year now will be the same.
That's right.
The year and the match will be different.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And to be honest with you, you have to keep a close eye on Eastern counties. From what I hear, hopefully everything still looks positive. There still hasn't been a press release to say yay and nay to the public. But I think that would be forthcoming.
We ain't seen nothing from the cricket board either, sir. We're talking about the major events. The governing body, I guess the governing body is still waiting on government too. I don't know.
Well, you know what? Would you be surprised?
Not at all. Not at all. Listen, I'm with some of these sports. Go ahead and do it, and ask for forgiveness after.
And say, Shaggy, it wasn't me?
Wasn't me. Have a good night, brother.
Take care, buddy. It was.